Hello, friends, and welcome. Today we are going to do the loner archetype. So I'm set in this sacred space with you now, and that is a sacred space in which we hold our own sense of self and stability, and we allow for love and spontaneity to channel through us in the moment. And I thought I would just brush you. We all like a little bit of face brushing, don't we? Unless of course you're new to ASMR, then it can seem a little bit weird. So, there are many different characters portrayed in films that portray different aspects of the loner archetype. One of my favourites is Cinderella. She doesn't start off as a loner, she has family, and very happy family at that. But eventually that gets taken away from her and she has to live with her step-family. And although she has people around her, which is not typically how the loner is portrayed, they're usually by themselves. Lone wolf. You can pretty much guess that she does still feel very lonely, and I think that can be the case with people in our lives sometimes. Not everyone that you're around makes you feel any less lonely than if you were alone. But Cinderella stays strong, and she listens to her mother's advice to have kindness and courage. And that's always stuck with me, because when I face difficulties in my own life and I start to realize that the universe is potentially testing me to see how much integrity and courage and kindness I do really have, sometimes it takes really difficult situations for that to be a choice that you would make. So, another one of my favorite lone wolf types, you could say, is Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. He dips in and out of places. He doesn't have a specific job of any kind. He just goes from place to place and flows where the wind takes him, and doesn't really have anyone, that's always around him. But there is a strength, again, a different kind. Cinderella's strength is that she is able to still have courage and be kind, even though she feels extremely isolated and lonely and is around people that treat her with disrespect. And eventually that pays off and she gets the life of her dreams and she's surrounded by a good community. And of course something similar happens to Aragorn, but in his case he gets to live from, I guess what I would say, an empowered space, because he can choose who he is, he can choose what he does, and I feel like that as an empathic person. As someone that resonates with the loner archetype, I do feel that there is a certain freedom that I have, that those who are surrounded by lots of friends, lots of family, maybe don't quite have in the same way. So when I start to think about all the negative reasons why it sucks to be a loner, I thought I would make this video to talk about all the good reasons why it can be a blessing to be a loner. So I want to make a distinction between what I would say is good practice for me, is healthy for me, and what is unhealthy practice for me in being the loner archetype from time to time. I'd say that if you feel like you don't quite get along with and understand certain people in your life, it's okay to move away and find what works for you in another town or another country. And that's very much something I did. Although that was not just because of the people, that was because I wanted to see more of what the world had to offer. The time when I think the loner can become a dangerous thing is when true connection of some kind is trying to find its way to you, whether that be a partner or a friend, and you can't see past your own loner identity, which tells you that you'll never have friends maybe, and you can't let that down for a day or a week or an hour even, and instead you wallow in being more of a loner, and in that pain there is pleasure that keeps you doing this same thing. But it's unfortunate because it does lead to a lot more pain in the long run. So being open to friendship, to relationships, is never a bad thing. I think the time that it can become something that is not necessarily good for you, and when it's important that you stand in your loner confidence, is when you know that something doesn't feel right in the relationship, and you don't question it, and you don't try to get out of it, especially if it's maybe become toxic of some kind, and instead you keep not listening to your gut, and you fawn to people, or you fawn to a lover because you're scared of what you'll do without them. And I know I've been there myself, what it's like. I know how difficult it can be, especially as a people pleaser, to walk away from something like that. But this is where the good side of being a loner comes in. There is a freedom that is extremely exciting, because when you walk away or decide that thing isn't for you, whatever it may be, there is a knowing inside of your being that you listened to your gut, and that makes you friends with yourself. That gives you that room to breathe. It gives you an easier way of relating to yourself because you listened. And there is definitely rewards in that, I would say. Being your own best friend is one. Another side to the good of being a loner is you are so independent that it takes a lot to ever strap you down with anything. You know, the status quo, the social world doesn't influence you quite as much as what it does with other people. Friends, a group of friends, a group of family are less likely to be able to influence you because you constantly come back to yourself, your heart, your mind, and your gut, and you're constantly listening to that feedback loop. And I would say that has definitely been something I've not seen the good in before, and I'm starting to see it because it's very peaceful. It's very peaceful. So, those are some of my ideas of the loner archetype. Now it's up to you if you'd like to share a little bit about your own journey with the loner archetype. We all go through it at some time or another. It just so happens to be that my stretch of it is right now, and it feels like a good time because it is winter and I can use that hermit side of the loner to go inward and have a deeper, stronger connection with the universe, with spirit, with that inward knowing, that inner voice. And that's a powerful thing because it's always a moral compass that you can rely on, in my opinion. So that's not to say that community can't do the same thing, though. I know that I will be just so overflowing in my heart with love and passion when I can come together with my true tribe and have beautiful experiences. And for that, I'm being patient and building up towards. So it frees me from worrying about where my friends will come from, worrying about where my family, when that's going to happen. It just allows me to focus on what I want to build first. So maybe focus on that if you're struggling with the loner isolation that can happen. And remember that you're all that you ever need. We do need community, and that's without question. but you're living in community and just here and now. I'm part of a community because I'm breathing in the air, I'm touching the earth, I'm breathing in the molecules, my cells are speaking to each other. There's always a community happening, even if it's not with people and talking. There is always an energetic conversation being had. You're always part of some community, and for me, one of the best things that I do or turn to when I'm really feeling uncomfortable about being alone or isolated in some way, although I'm very lucky, I have my soulmate with me here on this journey. But I know not everyone has that, and the thing is that the thing that I really want to say to you is that you really can be your own soulmate. You do have both the masculine and feminine energies in you, and they are all you need. And that is something that has taken me a long time to realize, but it is something that really truly makes you realize you're sovereign. But one of the things that I like to do, just to round off this video, I like to meditate or imagine or visualize speaking to my angels, my highest angels or ancestors. And depending on the moment, whatever feels right, I'll call upon them, I'll rest my eyes and I'll go into my brow area here and just rest there, and I'll breathe, and I find support there. So I hope that you can too. And many blessings upon you. Thank you for being here. And take care of yourself. And be kind. And have courage.